everybody, welcome back. Today's block is called Wild Geese Fancy Flight. So it's a little bit tricky. I honestly haven't made it. I'm attempting to figure it out with you. So for that, you're going to need, I have 4 different fabrics. So one, you're just going to need 4 3.5-inch squares. The second color, you're going to need 1 6 7/8 inch square and 3 3 7/8. Then the third fabric, you'll need 1 3 7/8. No, you'll need 2. I didn't change that. The book says 1, but you're going to need 2. So it'll be 2 3 7/8 and 1 3.5-inch square. And your third fabric, you'll need 1 3 7/8, 1 3.5, and 1 7.25 inch squares. I hope that makes sense. I will write it in the description. However, I'm learning this with you today. So first, and I've already done it, you're going to take one of these and one of these. This is pink. I don't know why it's showing up red, but anyways, I got one of, and I made them half square triangles. I did that preemptively because we're also going to do that with, what color? We're going to do it with this one and this one, I believe is, yep. So you're going to take another one of my pink one and my hearts, and we're going to turn that into half square triangles. So these are both 3 7/8 inch squares. We're going to lay them face down or right sides together, and I'm going to just pin it here. And I'm going to, oh, I'm not on screen. Let me move these up because I do want to leave them laying out for you if I can. So we're just going to, I just laid them right sides together. Well, the one doesn't have a right or wrong side, but you know. I'm going to cut it in half, corner to corner. And this is what I did for these. So you'll have 2 of these and 2 of this one. And now we're just going to sew down and make it half square triangles. And I'll take you over there with me. All right. That twisted on me a little. Let's straighten it back up, being very careful. And the other one. If this gets confusing, I do apologize. Again, I'm just learning this block. I've never made it before. And if I can do it, you can do it. So let's see if I can do it. We'll come back over and iron these open. Just lay that on top of there. It'll be fine. And then we're going to trim them down to 3.5-inch squares. So we're actually making 3 different small blocks. 2 are going to be the same, and then the other 2 are different. So we're making 3 different blocks, and then we're going to attach them to be the actual Wild Geese Fancy Flight is what it's called. So we're just going to trim this down. I'm going to line up the diagonal as close to the edge there as possible. We're still trimming some off. Just a little bit. Again, if you're not comfortable with that, cut them at 4 inches. It wouldn't hurt anything. Now we're going to line up the diagonal again, and then the 3.5-inch point down here, and then your straight lines will line right up. There's one more. And again, you're going to have done this with, you'll have 4 half square triangles when you're done. Just cutting off barely anything. Line up the 3.5 and the diagonal. get rid of this. And we're going to lay these to the side. Now let me see what we have to do next. So this might take a little bit. Like I said, I'm just learning it too. So we're going to take this last block and this one and this one. Okay, so now we're going to move on. We're going to lay these up here and those over there. Well, we'll just pile them up together. So we're going to take these three. Our last pink 3 7/8 and our hearts 3 1/2. And we're going to make this half of a half square triangle, if that makes sense. We're going to cut the pink one in half diagonally. And we're going to add it like this. We've done this before, so I'm just going to fold this over. We'll sew it down and then come back and trim it and, or not trim it, iron it, and then do the other side. I don't know where my other piece of fabric is. Alright, let's go iron this open. Oh, whoops. Alright, and now we'll take the other half and put it here. So we're actually making another half square triangle, sort of. Modified half square triangle. I don't know what you call it. Found it. It was on the floor. Let's iron it open. Move right along. Alright, so now we're gonna lay that to the side. Trim those off because we don't need them. We're going to take our hearts, our 7 1/4 inch square, and we're going to cut that in half diagonally. Alright, and now we're going to lay half of it up there. We don't need half of it. The other half is going to be the other half of this. So we're going to fold that over. So I don't know. It's not matching up yet. We'll see how it goes. We're just going to pin it in the middle. If it doesn't work, well, I don't know. We'll start over. I'm not very confident in the book's measurements since it didn't give me the right amount of blocks. So we'll see how it goes. So we're just going to sew that up. And there is our first block made. Maybe. If it measures 6 1/2 inches, it'll be our first block. If not, we'll scrap it and start over. This off, head back over, see what we got. Excuse me. Now, I am hoping this trims down to 6 1/2 inches. If it doesn't, well, then it doesn't. Oh, I didn't even iron that right. My point came out pretty well though. Pretty excited about that. All right, so 6.5. So what we have to do is we have to line up the diagonal, and we have to line up the 3 1/4 dot right there on our point. And it's gonna just barely make it. So, yay. Flip it around. Now we'll line up the dot for 6 1/4, but also the diagonal and the 6.5 inch at the bottom. I realize I'm almost off screen, but sorry. Look at that. Pretty perfect. So there's your first square. I'm making a mess here. Let's just move it to the side. Let's not. Let's get rid of it. Okay. Square 1 is done. Let's move on to square 2. In square 2, we're making 2 of them. So you're going to take these. We're making 2 exactly the same. Excuse me. They're going to be like this. And then we're going to take our light pink 3.5 inch squares and put in the corners. So this is this is it right there. That's 1 and that's 2. Actually, that's not right. This is 1 and this is 2, which would not have been the same thing because they're going to be in opposite corners. And I need these hearts to go the same way. So they're not exactly the same. They're the same pieces, but you need your mine are just dark pink hearts going out. And my candy hearts, well, I don't know, just lay yours out like that. My pink ones are opposite, and these 2 are opposite. Because if I turn this around, they're not the same. So they're going to have to go opposite ways. So now I'm just going to sew them together, and I'm going to do them one at a time so I don't mix them up. I'm just going to fold this over and this one, and I'm going to take these over and sew them together. Because I don't want to mix them up. While it's not the end of the world, I don't want to do extra work today. Let's go iron this open and finish it. And then we'll move on to the other half. Which I'm really glad I caught because I really thought it was the same block. Again, I've never made this block before. And this book is not the greatest for accurate instructions, we'll call it. So now I have to figure out what I did again. Actually, I don't, because the only thing I need to do is make sure these are opposite. And then if I wanted to, I could lay it out and see that they're different. Now I'm going to pin this and we're going to sew it together. So let me pin it. But now that it's done, I'm going to go ahead and fold these over and get them ready to pin. And I'm actually going to sew them first, so then I can put this one on and then take them off and pin it like this. So we're just going to fold this over and pin. And fold this one over. Well, that one's not correct, but and pin it. So let's go do that. Actually, I'm not going to pin it. It's in my hand. It'll be just fine. This one. Now I'll grab this one and we'll get it together. So let's cut these first two off and go iron them open and get it ready to sew up. Iron them open. And again, I just need to make sure they're opposite, but however, it's not all because I need it to be where this one will be on the outside. So it will be like that. This one's not gonna, this part is not gonna touch anything else. So we'll just fold that over. Pin it at the seam there and here. And here. So let's go sew that up. Put our ender in there. Iron them both open, and then we've got 3 blocks done, and we'll just have to figure out that last one. I'm going to iron them to this side because this one has that seam in the middle, and it just seems like the path of least resistance. Alright, so now we've got 3 of our blocks done. We're going to pile them up there. Now, let me see what I got to do for this last one. Yeah, so I need this piece. Maybe I don't need all these. I don't think I need this piece. No. I think I had, I don't know what I had. Let's go here. I did only need one of that. I was wrong. I only needed one of that. The book was right. Jeannie was wrong. So it is just one. Ignore me in the beginning. Let me change it on my thing here. Well, let's just erase it because this pen is erasable. Ignore me. I don't know what I'm talking about. That's okay. We'll use it for something else. So we're left with half of our hearts, our dark pink one that's 6 7/8, and our 3.5 inch dark hearts. I don't know. And what we're going to do is we're going to snowball this corner. So we are just going to draw a line corner to corner here. Corner to corner. And pin it on both sides because I don't want it to move. And we're going to go sew that down. Take the pins out and meet back over there. So now I'm just going to take my 1/4 inch ruler there and cut it off a 1/4 inch from the stitches. I could have sewn that and made another half square triangle, but not today. Let's smooth that and put this down. We're going to iron this open. This was the part of the block that worried me, honestly, but it seems to be doing all right. So now we are going to take it, let's lay it back out like that. We're going to lay this corner to corner. It is a little, no, we're going to lay it even here, right there. And I'm going to pin it on this side actually, because I want to sew. You know what? We're going to do it a whole different way. I'm going to pin it here. I'm going to line these corners up. The bottom corner, I'm lining it up. And then the side, maybe. and the sides. And I'm going to pin it here so it doesn't move on me. And then I'm going to lay this down and cut this off right here. We're just going to cut it off. I don't know how well it's going to work. We'll see. Okay, it worked. This is extra. You don't need that part. Toss it to the side. Now we're going to pin it a little more here. And we're going to sew 1/4 inch down through there. So let's go do that. Loose. Let's go iron it open. I've never made a block quite like this one before, so I really don't know what this is going to look like under here. But we're going to iron it open. Maybe. So there's our 3rd block. We're going to trim it because I want it to not have those points on it. So I'm just lining up my diagonal all the way down, and I'm going to trim off a little bit. My only problem with this is my point over here might not line up. Well, I guess it would have to line up, wouldn't it? Because it's a point. So now we're going to go down here and do the 6.5 and the diagonal. Why is it not lining up? Okay, well, I'll redo the other side. So we're going to just line up the diagonal on this side. It might take some work. Again, you know, whatever. Now I'm going to go back over and do this one again because it didn't work out right for me. So I just needed to have some wiggle room. Just right this side. Whoops. There we go. So now all of our blocks, I didn't do the other ones, but they should be 6.5. The square ones I did not measure down or trim down, but they are the same, I can tell. So now we're going to lay it out. And this is down here in the bottom. And this one is down here. So your hearts are going to go the same way. And then this one goes the same way. And then this one fits in there. So it looks like 3 flying geese, I guess. I don't know. You know, whatever you want to look at it as. So we're just going to fold these over. I am going to, because my seams are both going up, so I'm just going to fold this one over real quick and iron it the other way. No big deal. It'll just help it line up. It will be a little bit bulky there, but who really cares? So let's lay that back down. Fold this over. I don't know, my sinuses must be working overtime today. Pin it at the seam and at the end. I was a little nervous about this block. In fact, I almost put it off and was like, I'll do it another time. But I'm glad I did it. Now this one doesn't really have a seam that matches up, so we just fold it over. I also really like this block. I might make more. We're going to pin it at the end and closer to the beginning. Okay, well, there we go. Now we're going to go sew them both up. of there. Actually, while I'm here, I'll go ahead and cut that off. Now the next one. Let's cut them apart, iron them open, and you probably get tired of hearing me say that. Cut them apart, iron them open. Sometimes I get tired of saying it. Alright, so let's iron it to, I don't know, let's iron them to this side because then they're both going to go opposite ways. But it doesn't really matter which one, whatever makes you more comfortable. That one went down a little bit, but it's okay. So this was our top. Wait a minute. This was our top, and this was our bottom. So you still want, well, I have that backwards. You want to lay it back out, and you want to make sure your arrows are still going the same way. I like this. I didn't think I was going to like it, but I like it. We're going to fold it over and pin it at the seam. And pin it at the end. And you know the drill, pin it at the beginning. Let's go sew it up. Let's see what we got. I like it. Let me know what you all think. Actually, I really like it. Beautiful.